What's up, y'all? So, all right, we're back at it. We've gone through the first three letters of the empathy leadership model. E, emotionally present through self leadership. M, mentally present. We're keeping our fingers on the pulse of the organization and our people. And then P, we're planning with the end in mind. And then we're going back. We're working to meet people where they are in the day to day and support and equip them. All right, this next letter is A. So A is to allow space for failure, learning, and growth. So I remember when I opened up a Chick-fil-A location, and Chick-fil-A's come with a great irrigation system. This just elaborate system to keep all the grass green and beautiful on the property. And I'll never forget, we were a couple days into grand opening, and it was in the middle of the summer. And it was probably mid-morning, and the irrigation system had already cut off. And I took one of the up-and-coming leaders on a lap around the perimeter of the building just to kind of get a lay of the land, make sure, the parking lot was clean, make sure the building looked good. And what we noticed was that the water was pulling up, was literally like just laying on top of the dirt, and the grass kind of wasn't doing well. So I'm like, man, this is a problem. So come to find out, the area where this restaurant is, the soil is mainly clay. So this dirt was so dense and so tightly compact that the water couldn't drain down in, and we couldn't get the water to the roots, and the grass was starting to die. This beautiful sod that had been put down. Okay, so what's this have to do with allowing room for failure, learning, and growth? Well, in a way, I believe that our culture that we create in the workplace has a certain feel to it. Is it too tight? Is it too rigid? Is it too tough? See, sometimes as leaders, we can get so driven for results that we don't give people place to fail and try new things and learn and grow, and we can be afraid of failure. Man, but in the same way as the grass, it can choke out the water from getting down to the roots and helping the people grow. So as we're leading in our day to day, and we're trying to play out this empathy leadership model, we have to get good at allowing people to try new things, to let them fail, to learn and to grow. And if you notice, that's a really important part of this letter, is that growth part of it, right? We all want growth. There's not one leader, there's not one business owner that would say, I don't want my people to grow, I don't want my organization to grow. Not one. But and even learning, I would dare to say probably everybody wants learning, but not everybody wants to make space for it. Not everybody wants to pay for it. So even that one might be a little bit shaky. But most, I would dare to say the majority, probably only the best of the best, would understand the value of failure, right? That failure is necessary for growth. And oftentimes, our relationship to failure as a leader will dictate the culture, what it feels like to be on the other side of your leadership. Now, there's some things we can't fail in. There's some things that we can't allow for failure in, as it comes to safety, and it comes to people's well-being, and just managing our team in a responsible way. But as it comes to trying new things and giving people new opportunities and leaning into letting people fail and allowing them the opportunity to fail. Yes, it is an opportunity to fail. Or should I say, a failure creates an opportunity to grow, to learn and to grow. So this is a really, really important aspect of this empathy leadership model as we're building out this recipe. So all 7 letters are going to create a recipe that when they are worked together, they're going to create a recipe of empathy. So as you think about your team, does your team have room to fail? Does your team have the opportunity to learn and to grow? If not, maybe this is a chance to step back and to say, okay, how can I let my team fail? How can I let them try some new things, let them fail and grow, and have that be part of the culture? Because here's an aspect of this that is often uncalculated, that we think that we're saving by not failing, but unintentionally what we're missing out on sometimes is innovation. We're missing out on the opportunity for things to grow and improve and get better. Because when we let people have fresh eyes and fail on stuff, sometimes the best changes come from that. Sometimes the best ideas come from those environments that we let people fail. We let people try something new, or let some fresh eyes look at something that maybe they haven't seen yet, a system, a process, a product, an idea. So that's A. All right. So now we're moving on T. So T, it's one of my favorites. This one is basic. It's cheap. All these are basically free also, by the way. T is one of my favorite, and it's something that we've learned. Most of us have learned as kids, and that's just it's thank you, right? So the letter is to thank early and often. Why? Because gratitude unlocks greatness in multiple ways. In multiple ways, gratitude unlocks greatness. So thanking early and often means, look, we just catch people doing the right thing, right? Because what gets rewarded gets repeated. So we want to get so good at not being just that critical, catching people doing things wrong, pointing the finger, always having something negative to say. Gosh, we got to avoid that like the plague. And it's so common in leadership because, leaders, as we know, you carry the weight, the stress, the burden, the responsibility of the results. And that's a privilege. But it doesn't mean that we should miss out on what's going right and focusing on what's going wrong. See, that's why we start with self-leadership. So if we get these first parts right, these build and kind of cascade, and they help the next letter. And what we build in this is a different way to show up. So as we're thanking people early and often, catching people doing things right, this will drastically change the dynamic in your team. It'll change what it feels like for other people to be on the other side of your leadership, but it also change what you see. It'll change what you focus on. And here's what I know. What we focus on expands. What we focus on grows. So, and I'll give you a quick story. When my daughter was growing up playing soccer. I have 2 girls that play soccer, but my oldest, when she was playing soccer, I remember one of the parents from the sideline yelling at one of their daughters playing defense, saying, "Quit stabbing at the ball." So I guess this young girl was, just kind of like, poking her foot in there, trying to get at the ball rather than, breaking down in a great defensive stance and really containing. But what I thought about in that moment, I was like, okay, well, let's just play that out for a minute. Let's just say the daughter stops stabbing at the ball. What is she doing then? Nothing. So there was no clear directive. There was no actual help in what that leader, what that parent was saying in that moment. Were they trying to be hurtful or destructive? No, they were trying to be helpful for sure. So that's what it stuck with me, is like, we have to get good at really focusing on the good and building on what is good, or otherwise we can just cut the legs out from what we're trying to build, and our team's not going to really have any clarity on what direction to go. So I just want to encourage you guys, as you guys are in your place of work, as you guys show up, as you show up filled up, as you're noticing the details, as you're planning with the end in mind, as you're allowing space for failure, learning, and growth. Man, let's get so good at catching people doing the right thing and thanking early and often. And here's the last part to that, is that gratitude unlocks greatness. And this one cannot be under. I can't say it strongly enough, because it's in all parties, you and who you're leading. So your best. Did you know that your best self is your most grateful self? That's right. When you're grateful, when you're thankful, when you're catching people doing the right thing, you are more and more getting closer to the best version of your leadership, whatever that looks like, whatever personality you have. But not only that, for your team member, right? Because especially, and I know this is at Chick-fil-A and not everybody's working with this age range between 16 and 25, but one thing I do know, and Truett Cathy said this, he said, if you're breathing, you need encouragement, is that people need encouragement. Especially today, people need to be encouraged. It's not coddling, it's not soft. Look, at the end of the day, I really believe that a lot of times this is lazy leaders have the biggest problem with some of this, because they don't want to do it. They don't want to take the time. And it's not a dig on them, but I don't think they actually realize the value. No leader gets up in the morning and says, "Hey, I want to go ruin somebody's day," or "Hey, I want to go, have a terrible work experience today." Nobody does that. But hopefully, as we're unpacking these, you can see, man, the value of these basics in leadership are really the main difference makers. It's kind of like the blocking and tackling of football. If you don't do those well, the rest of it doesn't matter. All right, so T's, to thank early and often, because it will unlock greatness. It'll help people see the best in themselves. It'll help build repetition. It'll help the team members repeat those things that they're doing well, not just getting them focused on what they're doing wrong and what to stop doing. This is a massive one, guys. So take note. Hopefully that one lands with you well, because that's an important one. Get good at saying thank you. All right, next one. H. Getting close to the end here. Two more. So H is to help others by leveraging your power and position. So help others. And again, you may be saying, man, this is pretty basic. But guys, this is the difference maker. This empathy is the difference maker. It's the force multiplier. It will turn up every aspect of your leadership. All right. So what do I mean by help others by leveraging your power and position? See, oftentimes, if you find yourself in a leadership position, you might find yourself towards the top of a organizational chart, towards the top of that pyramid, right? Well, what I would challenge you to do is see yourself at the top in terms of responsibility, that all the responsibility is going to funnel up to you. But as it comes to the practical outworking of your leadership and how you show up and how you posture yourself in relation to others, is flip that leadership chart upside down, right? And understand that from a development standpoint, from a caring standpoint, you are at the bottom holding the rest of the team up. You're lifting them up. So I want you to position yourself below them in the way that we're going to come in and we're there to serve. We're there to help others, and we're going to use our power and our position to serve them well. So what do I mean by that from a practical standpoint? Well, when it comes to, say, procurement of new equipment, when it comes to implementing new ideas, when it comes to taking time to listen to the challenges and understand what the real problems are in the trenches, so to speak. That's our job. That is our job. I see so many leaders they see themselves at the top of the org chart and they show up like they're at the top of the org chart. But if you are in a leadership position, you are in a servant position. You are there to serve those that you have been entrusted with. So this is a shift in our mentality as we come in. But in order to really fully walk in this empathy leadership model, we have to position ourselves in the mentality and in a posture that we're going to show up and we're going to serve and we're going to lift others up, and we're going to position ourselves in a way to help them, to empower them, to equip them to get the job done. And it's gonna unlock people. It's gonna unlock the day to day. It's gonna make people feel that much better to get their job done. We can buy their hands. The paychecks we provide, and I hear this all the time. And gosh, it's one of the worst things you could ever say is just do your job. It's what you get paid for. So one of the worst things we could ever say, because we just get their hands. But we know that in order to get the best out of someone, we need their heart. We need their heart. And in order to get that, they have to know we care. So when we show up and we look to help others and we look to serve them, and we're going to use our position in a way that is for the betterment of our people, game on. Game changer. Things will never be the same. And this is where we really start to get into this force multiplier aspect of whatever it is that we're doing, whatever job, whatever role you're in, whether you're in finance, whether you're in customer service, whether you're in sales, whether you're in whatever type of role, warehouse, retail, restaurant, it doesn't matter. These principles are all applicable. Okay, so that's H. Last letter, guys. This one's, so I kind of look at the first letter and the last letter kind of like bookends, right? Like if you don't have your bookends, man, those in between letters they'll fall down. They won't hold up. So these letters on the end, it gets to the identity, right? The identity of who we are as a leader, right? So Y stands for you, and that you make all the difference. So I'm not just trying to puff you up. I'm not just trying to blow smoke. I want you to know that you make the difference, right? That oftentimes as a leader, we can remove ourselves from the equation and kind of be the high paid judge and sit back and say, well, this person's good, this person's not. This person, keep that one on a short leash. I hope this person leaves, right? Guys, we're not a high paid judge. We are meant to be in there because we make the difference. And it's not because who we are that makes us special. It's the role that matters, right? So people look at us differently because of the role. I guarantee if we were to show up not in that role and in a team member position, we would get looked at as a team member, hoping that somebody would actually notice us as a leader and care about us. Okay, so I was never great at math. Still am not great at math. But this is what I want to break down for you, what I would call leadership math. Okay? So Y stands for you, plus X, which is our team member or those that we lead. So Y plus X equals maximum potential. Okay? So notice that Y is in the equation. So when we put you and your team together, we get max potential. So many times leaders leave themselves disconnected and unengaged and not involved with their people, and their people suffer. They suffer under the judgmental glances, the judgmental conversations. And again, back to the culture, the inside out, we think we can have conversations that the team members never hear and quote unquote get away with it. Well, we don't get away with anything, right? The team feels all of that, right? That person that you think that you've written off, they feel that. They know that you've written them off. They know that you've quit on them. So what if we understood our value as a leader, and understood that we make the difference in people's lives. And we started to put ourselves in the equation with those that we lead and understand that you plus your team equals max potential. So the bookend idea, you got E, emotionally present through self-leadership. So we're leading ourselves well. And Y, we're putting ourselves in people's equation. We're putting ourselves in the equation with people. And here's the deal. You can't, if you're not leading yourself well, you don't have anything to give. You can't give what you don't have. Right? So we need both of these to fully work out this empathy leadership model. So if we get all these pieces right and we have all these letters, this recipe put together, man, what we're going to be cooking is going to be a beautiful thing. So real quick to go from the top. So we have E, emotionally present through self-leadership. M, mentally present. We're keeping our fingers on the pulse of our organization and our people. We're noticing the details. P, we're planning with the end in mind and then going back, and we're meeting them where they are. We recognize that we've spent the time, that now they need the time. We need to meet them where they are to connect forward, and we have to manage our expectations. Okay? We have to help train them, help coach them up, help cast that vision clearly over and over and over again. We have to be the chief reminding officer, right? A, we've got to allow space for failure, for learning, and for growth. We can't have a tight environment. We have to allow people room to fail. T, we have to thank early and often. We have to get good at catching people doing the right thing, because gratitude unlocks greatness in ourselves and others. And then H, we're going to help others by leveraging our power and our position. We're going to flip that org chart upside down, and we're going to show up as servant leaders, and we're going to serve our team. We're going to leverage all the different things that we have access to and the powers that we have, so to speak, to help others, to support, to equip other people. We're going to show up in a servant leadership mindset. And then the last one is we're going to understand that you make all the difference. That you are responsible for the results. That you are responsible for the people. And the last story I'll share, and this is the small, massive shift I think this really embodies, is leaders would often say we're responsible for results, right? You know, I think as a leader, if you've led in any capacity for any length of time, you would feel like, yeah, of course, like, you know, the board's coming to me, you know, the results are my responsibility. Let's shift that just a little bit, is that rather than thinking that you're responsible for the results, let's shift that to you're responsible for the people that are responsible for the results, and see how your leadership, your team changes for the better. Because at the end of the day, when we're responsible just for the results, if we don't get the desired result, guess what? The problem is our people. But if we make that subtle shift and we say we're responsible for the people that are responsible for the results, when we don't get the right result, then we go back to the people and we look to serve and help and equip the people. So guys, I hope this is helpful. I hope this makes sense. I hope you can see the value and see now, if you're not an empathetic leader, maybe what that looks like practically now, and how to step into that more, and how to start doing things that help unlock your people and create an organization where people feel valued, feel cared for, and you ultimately get the best out of them. Because I believe when we step into this, when we implement these 7 points, what we start to see is all of the important metrics start to go up. Our efficiencies go up. Our creativity, our innovation starts to go up. Our retention gets better. Our safety gets better. Our customer service gets better. So I hope this lands. I hope it makes sense to you. Reach out if you have any questions. I love to help walk you through it. But thank you so much for your time. Talk to you soon. See ya.